Greetings and welcome everyone to yet another episode of Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. I'm sitting here with Kyle Ferguson, and it's a special episode today because I get to introduce somebody I'm a fan of, a podcaster I enjoy. You may know him from DLC. You may know him from We Have Concerns. You may know him from /Filmcast. This may be your first time ever hearing him, and you're going to be saying, Jeff, who? But he gets my stamp of approval. Jeff Cannata, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm so thrilled to be here. I am a massive fan of this show. I'm a massive fan of Heroes of the Storm. So the fact that I get to be on a show that I listen to weekly is a treat for me. You guys are doing a fantastic job. So letting me come crash your party a little bit is a real treat. Thank you very much.
Oh, stop. Thank you. It means a lot, actually.
Awesome.
I've been listening to you review movies for a very long time on the /Filmcast and keeping that chucklehead David Chen in line.
Oh, yeah. It's not an easy task.
With his incorrect opinions of 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Indeed.
But we're here to talk about Heroes of the Storm. It is a huge week for Heroes. Lots of big news coming out this week. But Jeff, it's your first time kind of joining us, so
Yes.
we're gonna hit you up with a couple questions before we even get into the meat of the show.
Please.
Why Heroes, man? What is it about Heroes that draws you to the game? What is it about Heroes that fans of your other video game podcast DLC feel the need to go to Twitter and be like, Jeff, come on, man, there's other games to talk about?
Yeah. I have actually the listeners of my show, my video game show, have banned me from talking about Heroes of the Storm because I was talking about it too much in their opinion. So that's why I'm here. This is like a release valve for all the pent up stuff that I wanted to talk about. Well, honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm sort of a Blizzard fanboy. I have been, since the first time I played Warcraft, the first Warcraft. I have been hooked on their products and their world, and I did not get into Dota or League. I wanted to. I sort of looked at those communities from afar when I was doing my last video game show, Weekend Confirmed. I looked at them from afar and sort of thought it seemed like a fun thing, but it felt a little hard to get into. There was already an established world there, an established community, and I felt intimidated, quite honestly, jumping in, as I think a lot of people do. And then when Heroes of the Storm was announced, here was this opportunity to get in on something on the ground floor when everybody was new to the game. And I felt like, well, I'll give it a shot. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. But I had been a fan. I'd played StarCraft and StarCraft 2, and I had the RTSs of the Blizzard world. So I kind of felt like a MOBA is something I'm gonna like. And Heroes it turned out to be the game, and now I'm completely obsessed with the game, and I play it way too much.
So that's what we like to hear. Then I mean that's the only barrier to entry to be on this show. So
yeah, I was thinking. I'd like to pitch to you guys a recurring segment where I can come on and give you stories from Bronze. Stories from Bronze Town.
Sure.
We would accept that.
That sounds like a good time. So do you actually do you run like a HotSlogs tracker and keep track of your games? And
for a while I did. I was the highest I've ever gotten ranked is rank 14. I was pretty proud of that.
That's
that was
not bad.
Yeah, that was before the big wipe that happened a while back. And after that, my fortunes have turned decidedly south. And I'm trapped in the 30s, guys. I can't get out. And it is a nightmare of apathy and antipathy and the ways I've lost games in the 30s in ranked it's like it runs the gamut. It like every possible way, and almost always it is my own team turning on itself. And it is so sad to see, guys. I want to crawl out of the muck and the cesspool that is Bronze, but I can't seem to do it.
Heroes of the Storm can go from 300 to Lord of the Flies really fast.
No kidding, man.
Like
no joke. I mean, I played 8 games yesterday, and in each of them, a player either decided to actively work against the team or completely went off the grid and just did their own thing with people begging to please participate in team fights, please come to objective. I mean, it's hard out there for a pimp, guys. It's hard.
You can't get no money for the rent.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough, man. It's something about like it's easy on a show like this that is specific about one game. Like if you listen from week to week to week, it's easy to think that like we're talking about the social issues of a game like Heroes of the Storm and we're singling it out. When in reality, there's just something about MOBAs in general that is this bizarre social experiment where every single MOBA out there experiences the exact same type of issues. And it all comes down to just, to me, I'm like, well, it's all about anonymity on the internet. There's no repercussions. So
I think specifically in that range of ranking, there is a I don't care aspect, which I bristle against. I sort of bristle against that in life. Like people are just, I don't care. I'm always of the care more, persuasion. And I think that's has a lot to do with it. Any kind of perceived slight that someone might have will give them excuse to just turn against the team because they don't care. But I come to you, the gurus of HOTS, and I want to know what is the thing that I can do? What are your tips to try to persevere out of that sort of malaise of the 30s?
I'm going to pass this over to Kyle because if you were to ask me, I would tell you I'm stuck in the teens and it doesn't get any better.
Oh, no, that's not what I want to hear.
But Kyle, you're rank 1, then rank 2, then rank 1 again, then rank 2 again, then rank 1 again, then rank 2 again, and then rank 1 again. What say you to people like Jeff and myself?
Well, it's like any relationship. You have to work at it and has ebbs and flows, Sometimes you drop out of rank 1, sometimes everything lovey-dovey. In the 30 ranks, it's about carrying with Assassin, and it's about getting out of that gate and impressing everyone. The dudes on the enemy team, they need to be impressed by you so they're not attacking you, so they try to kill all your teammates, and you're this ignorable, amazing player. And then you also, in the first 3 minutes or so, getting out of the field, being aggressive, being awesome, you might attract the attention of your tank and your support. And then they can rally around you to actually win the game because finally someone good. We can actually play off of this.
I honestly, I guess everybody thinks they're good. I think I'm better than my rank, and I think I'm better than my MMR. But I suppose everybody thinks that. I often find myself in the situation of, especially in this Heroes League sort of, the position I find myself in. I often find myself unable to even draft an assassin because so few people are willing to play tank or support. Like we lose. I feel like we lose more games by just people being stubborn in draft and not wanting to play as a team in draft. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be the guy that'll draft a support because nobody else is gonna. So
yeah. Don't fall into that trap because then you're stuck supporting and oh my goodness, is that frustrating when all you can do is throw that holy light onto Chen as he dives into tower range. No experience there or anything.
Right.
Certainly not after this week's games.
Yeah, we definitely didn't play for 3 hours straight on Monday and have some really awful games that have tainted our entire opinion for the rest of this week.
But if you're coming from like World of Warcraft, it can be very easy to get caught up in the comp mindset that you need the healer and you need the tank. When in reality, the only thing that wins for a comp is damage. Do you have enough damage? Did the enemy team go double tank? They are now lacking damage. You can actually go no tank in that situation because you're just going to destroy them. They're going to have a great front line. It'll fall to pieces under your mighty, mighty hoof.
All right. I'm doing it, man. I'm playing Jaina, I'm playing Li Ming, I'm playing Greymane. I'm doing it. I'm pushing.
Those are the dudes. Yeah, those are the exact dudes you need to be playing.
All right. Okay.
Doing well, man. Doing well.
To hell with team comp. Let's do it.
And then there is like that asterisk, which is, are you last pick? You probably have to be the good guy. You probably do have to fill that tank or healer slot. So, every now and then you get that, it's like you end up in that dream scenario where there's some guy like mid pick who's just like, I love support. I've got this, guys. And you're like, oh, sweet, cool. Well, Raynor for me. But it doesn't.
And Raynor's a magic pick because he's a high damage, long range assassin that is not going to be picked up because most people find him boring. But he
Right.
has a self-sustained heal, and that alone can just carry a game as people go, let's get Raynor. Oh, no, we messed up. Oh, no. And they all have to go running away through your maximum range.
Well, God, we were we were playing. Well, sorry, you weren't there, Kyle. I'm sorry. I believe Jocelyn's words were, "You weren't invited because they didn't want to get stomped too hard."
I take it as a compliment.
It was
Don't worry.
ladies' night versus a bunch of men. Like it was Scott Johnson, Dills, me, John, a bunch of other guys, and I picked Raynor on the game where the rule was we were not allowed to move unless we were mounted up. That was the rule. I was so angry when I heard this rule, but Raynor worked out really well. I had the most deaths, but that's because I was getting targeted because they wanted to incite my rage. Yeah, it was Raynor's a damn good hero. I love that self heal. I also went a build that probably would have made you throw up in your mouth, Kyle. It was all self healing. I even took Vampiric Embrace.
Okay,
Yep.
that's fine.
Yeah, you wouldn't have liked it, but it worked for this bizarre game mode that they made us play.
Exactly, that's fine.
By the way, the ladies team, they were allowed to move normally. They were allowed to play like normal. All those guys were not allowed to move unless we were on our mount. So if you engage them at any point by yourself, you were guaranteed to die because you couldn't move.
I feel like it's a metaphor for something, but I'm not sure what.
Probably me trying to get a girlfriend in high school. I think that's what it's
exactly.
metaphor for. But anyways, well, there's a lot to talk about. Let's but before we get to news, I do want to remind our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN. If you're over there, if you are supporting us, our patron hangout is tomorrow. So if you're supporting us, head on over to the Patreon. All of the details are up. It's the most recent post. You can call in on Skype, and if you can't make it live to call in live, we also have a voicemail line where you can leave a message. Now, boys, let's get into this week's Heroes of the Storm news.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
Oh, what a week it's been to be a Heroes fan, ladies and gentlemen. A massive patch went onto the PTR this week with tons of hero changes, but we're going to start off talking about the changes to the game systems themselves because, Jeff and Kyle, we are finally getting bans in Heroes of the Storm, and you can log in right now into the public test realm and test the ban system out.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's pretty. It's pretty.
So the idea here is that some random person is going to be given the power, the ban power, right? It's a random roll, and one person gets to decide which is the first ban, and a different person gets to decide what the second ban is on your team.
I think in Hero League it's the highest MMR, correct?
Yeah, it's MMR, and we don't know our MMRs from Blizzard at this moment, so it's going to be some guy, and we hope the system works.
Kyle, do you think this will have the side effect of dictating the shot caller as well? It's like, oh, he got the draft. I guess we're listening to him.
You know, in the lower leagues, is that going to happen? Because we all, as we just talked about, I mean, even I in rank 1,
Well,
I'm like,
I mean, if
that's
you're-
not my MMR. My MMR is better than that.
If you're going to be that cynical, then I would say, is it going to happen in the higher ranks? Because we all have egos the size of the Empire State Building.
That's the tough part. So we can assume that a ban in a non-voice chat single queue scenario will basically go to whoever is OP at the time, according to websites, HOTS logs, pros, Zool, Rehgar, Thrall, maybe Zagara, certain maps, Li Ming. Like, these guys will probably just get the straight-up ban hammer. The awesome thing about it, though, is this is rolling out with all those changes we're about to go over for heroes, and if one of those heroes is completely broken, it doesn't matter anymore. We can ban that guy.
I feel like it's going to be, hey, what's the newestly released hero? Okay, nobody gets to play that one.
Exactly.
That's a
right now,
bummer.
it's Sylvanas is the most banned hero on the PTR because nobody knows how to deal with mind control yet.
It
Interesting.
is terrifying, and we're going to get into the highlights of the hero changes later. We're not going to talk about them all. We're going to revisit a lot of this once this goes live. But yeah, we will definitely be talking about Sylvanas and her changes. They're looking mighty fine.
The other thing that's scary to me about the ban system is if ban guy's AFK, no ban. If he doesn't pick a ban, we didn't get a ban.
But if he's that's a good point. What does happen? Because
If It's an effect. It goes and like breaks on the screen and kind of makes a big deal of it that he missed his 45-second window to make a ban, but does not cancel the draft.
Okay. I hadn't, that thought hadn't even crossed my mind because I was thinking, oh, well, the game will just end because he was AFK. But no, because it's not like he's picking his hero. And it's also not like whoever is the one doing the banning, it's not like they are guaranteed to have first pick as well, which means like, oh, if they're AFK for a few more seconds, then the game will just end. But that's actually not the case. It could have last pick.
Right.
So, wow, that is a good point. That's,
We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and the one that interests me the most is the mid ban, because that's the one that happens after one team has 3 and one team has 2 picked. That's interesting. Like, what do you get rid of there? Is it a tank? Is there a certain support that would look real good with this? Well, and that comes down to actual player skill and knowledge, whereas the first one, I think we can basically say, what's OP? What do you not want to deal with? Or in some ranks, I think it might be like Gazlowe, because I don't want a darn Gazlowe on my team.
Well, yeah, Nova perma ban.
There you go.
Well, I feel like the mid pick is the educated pick, right? You now have significantly more information to go on to make your ban. You can see what the enemy team has at the very least 2 heroes that they have picked, and you may be able to be like, okay, well they picked those 2. I really don't want them to have a Morales. Let's ban that Morales out. But the first one, I mean, yeah, what do you have to go off? Your standard solo queue experience, I feel like, will be exactly that. Banning whoever is currently considered OP, possibly in a perfect scenario, actually taking the current battleground into account. Which is why I'm really happy that they have that new kind of make a big ado about what battleground you're about to enter before you enter the draft screen. Because I do think that is 100% something every player should be taking into account, not only for bans, but for the hero that they are themselves picking.
Yeah.
So
too rarely do people take that into account, in my opinion. And that's constantly what I'm, as I'm communicating during the draft, I think that's the thing I try to hit on the most, is like, let's think about this map, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it Spider Queen? Let's get Zagara or ban her out. We need that site.
Right.
So, hey guys, I like Zagara. I don't know if you noticed. So yeah. Also, folks, if you haven't seen the ban screen, if you haven't logged in, or if you don't want to install the PTR because I don't know, maybe your SSD is on its last few megabytes of space, you can head on over to youtube.com/amove.tv, check out Games Bond from this week, because before we started playing games, we actually went into the PTR and checked out the draft system. Although now that I'm saying this, I remember that it's actually not up yet because there was an audio sync issue. Check back soon, folks. Kyle, you also brought it to my attention. I missed this entirely. We can set up a favorites bar of 10 heroes. We can select like 10 favorite heroes that will always be kind of at the top of our hero selection on the draft screen.
Yeah, with Dehaka coming out next week, we will have hit 50 heroes. So they're making it a little easier to find your favorites. You can load up 10, put little hearts by them, and be ready to draft them. That's also the same bar that shows up when you're banning. So, don't ban your favorites if you get that role.
Oh. Yeah, that's yeah. I guess if you're in charge of the ban, you're going to have to keep it in the back of your mind that you don't get to just make your selection and then go AFK. Because then wouldn't it just automatically, that selection would then be banned?
Yeah, and you certainly don't get to go AFK at all now. They have reduced every pick hero phase by 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Less AFKs, I think that motivates less AFK, hopefully.
You should really be paying attention during the draft phase. You should be paying attention to what your team is picking, what the enemy team is picking, and now you're going to have to worry about the ban phase. I have to stop myself from checking Twitter, which I think is bad, because I'm not paying attention, then I get in and I'm like, oh wait, how do we end up with this comp? What's their comp? Oh no. So.
Yeah.
We're getting individual hero Quickcast options. Jeff, do you use Quickcast?
I do. I use Quickcast exclusively, but I love the fact that I think you can even within individual heroes, you can even go and get as granular as individual spells, right?
Yes, exactly.
That is so great, because there are, even though I use Quickcast, there are certain spells that I think suffer because I'm not exactly sure where the area of effect is going to be when I cast it. So I think I'm going to definitely go in there and edit out some specific heroes.
Kyle and I have been doing an arcane orb dance all week since we heard this news, because Kyle, are you like me? For me, I want any AoE effect. I want the targeting reticule, but for skill shots, I want them on Quickcast because I want them out. I know where they're going. I want it to happen as fast as possible.
Right. When I'm drawing my shapes, it's really important. Blizzards, zombie walls, all these sort of things. Dehaka, his movement, his mount ability is to burrow to a bush anywhere on the map. But guess what? That's your Z. And if every time a fight finishes, you just start hitting Z autopilot and your mouse happens to hover over some bush, you teleport about 5 feet away.
Yeah.
You go, whoops.
Yeah, that's a bad habit to break. So I'm right there with you, Jeff. I'm so ecstatic about this change because not only can we choose per hero whether we would have Quickcast on release, or Classic, we can say, no, I want A ability to be Classic, I want B ability to be Quickcast, and I want C ability to be Quickcast on release. And any combination of that you would like, which I think is just wonderful. More options for players, it's always a good thing.
Oh, yeah. It's the toy box too, and that's what makes it so cool to me. I want to, if I discover I'm too tired, I load up into heroes. I go, you know what? I probably shouldn't do this. I'm going to be a detriment to my team, but I still want to, mess around in there. I can click my favorites. I can reorganize my stuff. You don't always want to build the set you get with the Legos. Sometimes you just want to make a box.
And then you'll make the mistake of playing quick match. You'll get matched with me, and I'll be asking myself once again why I decided to play quick match. Not personal at all. Finally, speaking of game systems, we're getting death recaps. So Kyle, you've been playing quite a bit on the PTR this week. I've only just messed around a little bit on the draft screen and with the Quickcast options. So what is the death recap system like? Do you like it? Are you happy? It's something that players, ourselves included, have been asking for quite a while.
It only gives you a snapshot of the last couple seconds, but does divide up the damage you took well. I learned that Charge Blast is the most amazing thing on Li Ming this week because it was the thing that was constantly deleting me in the final bit of the graph. It shows healing as well, including self-healing, so you can really get a good picture as to what happened as you went down. I like it a lot.
I think you should add a little flavor text and be like, why did you dive? You're so stupid.
That would actually be really good. Like, you're outside of your healer's range. By the way, you were outside of Brightwing's passive range.
Right. By the way, you were all alone in that lane and the entire team was somewhere else. What's wrong with you?
If you start to type, where was my team? It just deletes it and gives you an error message.
Now
messed up.
We all played during Tech Alpha and Beta, correct?
Yes.
Do you guys remember how hopelessly optimistic the game used to be? It's like you just died and it's like, you lived 30 seconds longer than any other point in this game. Good job.
Yeah. My favorite was when we used to have your stats screen showed any kill that you were even remotely a part of as part of your kills, and I would have like 50 kills in a game, and I'd be like, I am a golden god.
And now it's split up.
Yeah. I still have screen caps of that. Like, I had 50 kills as Muradin. Yeah, I did.
Making warriors all around the globe feel real good about themselves.
Yeah.
Probably, though, I think of all the heroes, Lieutenant Morales probably had the most wind taken out of her sails when that change was made. Because like,
for me,
that
it
was
was
before her time, but yes.
Yeah, but it was Abathur for me because everyone you touched just sort of brushed by with a symbiote you got credit for.
Yeah. By the way, I was forced into playing Abathur on Tuesday night.
I saw.
Which was the second time I've ever played Abathur. It was the first time I ever played Abathur against real people.
It's hard work, isn't it?
It is hard work. I was exhausted by the end of it. Absolutely exhausted. And I felt like I had accomplished well, no, I actually felt like I had pushed a lane to its fullest. But that being said.
Now on to Lost Vikings.
No. I'm good. No, thank you. I stopped playing StarCraft ladder for a reason. Co-op, sign me up for it, but I'm done with ladder. So the PTR's here. It's not just game systems being updated. Dehaka is also live. You can buy him. You can try him out. Kyle, you've been all over him as the president of the Zerg that I know you to be. What do you think of him?
I think he's fantastic. And he's adorable, really. Like he's like a little T-Rex. He lumbers around. His hearth animation, he like scratches his ear and bites his own foot. He's so cute. And he has such aggressive things to say. I love the guy. He is not the Diablo replacement maybe I was looking for originally. I was hoping, with the burrow that I would be able to dodge abilities that Diablo would just have to stand through. I'd be able to dodge that Zool prison, but you can't control when you pop back up. So basically, you're the frontline tank, you disappear, and that arcane orb flies right over you into your back line. Kind of a bad strategy.
That's what I was really worried about.
So, we adapted, huh? It's Zerg, right? We adapted the strategy, and now I just love him. He is the XP tank. Like, Falstad is the XP assassin. Sure, if you want to just straight up kill people, take Vala, perhaps. She is like standard assassin. Falstad's made of paper, but you're trading that for XP. Brightwing, tough solo support to play. But you're trading all that utility, and Brightwing's got a lot of utility, for XP contributions.
I don't know what you're talking about, Kyle. I think Brightwing is such an easy solo support to play. It's amazing I don't see more of her. Mm-hmm. That's right. I'm saying I'm an amazing Brightwing.
I guess we could call Lost Vikings the XP specialist, but they're all kind of XP oriented anyway.
Yeah. Jeff, have you had a chance to get in the PTR and tried Dehaka?
I have not. No, I'm very excited to check him out. He does seem like my cup of tea, but no, I haven't had a chance to do any hands-on with him. I'm curious to have you elaborate a little bit on what you mean about not being able to decide when you pop back up. Is it just on a timer when you pop up?
Yeah, you're underground for 2 seconds. So you
Okay.
pop down, and at the end of that, you pop back up, which, like I said, could cause abilities to fly over your head into your back line, but also for people aware of how long you're going to be gone, it's highly predictable. And
Right.
those Lemmings will hold off on the arcane orbs and back it up and time it perfectly so it hits you.
See,
It's a bit like an ice block then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an ice block, or like putting yourself into a shorter personal maw.
It's my own personal maw.
Well, we got to bring it back to Zagara, of course.
That's the way my brain functions in this game, Kyle, okay?
Yeah.
It's the most games I have logged. My win rate is generous with Zagara. So that's just the way my brain parses the game of Heroes of the Storm. To me, it's not Heroes of the Storm, it's Zagara of the Storm. So, anyways, is his tongue like grappling scorpion ability as awesome as we thought it was when we were just looking at text explaining it last week?
It is super tiny. Like,
Really?
Oh, really?
divide Leoric's, and this isn't perfect, but it feels like Leoric's Drain Hope divided in half. It is a very, very small range, and you have no movement speed. So you're not Diablo. You can't mount up, run in, hope no one hits you, get the grab, do the push. You walk everywhere. And you cannot mount. You cannot move yourself faster until the later game, or if you do some level 1 questing, getting enough essence to upgrade your movement speed over the course of the game. One of those new sort of feature talents. Once you get those later talents, you can book it around. Every single bush you touch, you go 20% faster. You can weave in between them. You're teleporting between bushes. Late game, you are a powerhouse with a level lead, which is why he's the XP assassin. The fight ends. Good. No one needs a tank for a fight that doesn't exist. So dig yourself back in the lane, get your essence, get that XP, get your level lead, and then you become unstoppable later.
So do you consider any hero that has map kind of map control abilities like Brightwing, like Falstad, like Dehaka? Is that what you consider an XP hero?
Yes. And they are weaker because of it.
Gotcha.
And as they should be, right? I mean, you don't want all that utility and then the same health as one of our mega tanks. There is regeneration abilities. The essence collection system is quite generous, and you will most likely have essence in most fights you get into. And whenever a hero dies, and it's a takedown, so as a tank, your Dark Swarm's flying around you, dealing area effect damage. You're probably touching everybody in the fight. When they die, you get 10 essence, which you can turn immediately into health on no cooldown.
So it sounds like it takes a little more skill to solo tank with him because you're sort of in charge of your own sustain, right?
And you will need a team that understands what you're up to, because you could easily frustrate people. If a fight breaks out, one kill goes down, and everyone wants to chase, that's wrong for Dehaka. He can't mount up. He has no movement ability. You dive right back into lane. It's as though, those Falstads, now with pro play, we see the Falstads, the fight ends, they use their win, they fly right back into lane and get to work. But before they gave us that glimpse of it, most people would get really angry. Where are you off to, Falstad? What are you doing soaking?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But yes, drag is very, very tiny. You can body block, though. You can connect it and then walk to the other side of them. Or you can walk backwards and drag them with you.
I just hope that he has an emote when he has somebody dragging. It's like, I got you really good.
It's just Dehaka trying to talk with his tongue in between his teeth.
Yeah, I think that'd be really funny.
Now I want them to get the Scorpion voice actor, the exact same voice actor, to say "get over here," but do it with his tongue out of his mouth the entire time.
Get over here.
Exactly, which sounds surprisingly like a Chicago thug. But, anyways, quick warning: we're about to talk about Garden Terror, but don't touch that podcast dial. I promise.
They fixed it.
Yeah, it's getting better. I promise. Sadly, it's not just being removed. But it is being improved. So the Garden Terror itself, the main objective of the Battleground, has had quite a few tweaks. Its basic attack damage has been reduced by 15%. Basic attacks now deal 50% of its damage to nearby non-heroic enemies, so it effectively has a cleave now, which is good. And basic attacks now instantly kill minions. So the 50% damage to nearby non-heroic enemies, I'm assuming that's like Zagara spawns, Asmodan spawns, because if it's instantly killing minions, there's not a whole lot left for it to deal 50% damage to.
If you're targeting the tower, right, 50% damage will happen to the minions.
Oh, okay. So the minions won't instantly die from the cleave. If you target a specific minion, right, your one hit will instantly kill one minion.
Probably shouldn't do it.
That's the way I read that.
Yeah, sorry. But minions include catapults, so that's probably the thing you'd smack on your way across the map.
Gotcha. Because I was about to say it was inefficient before to attack a minion wave, and now after Jeff's clarification, which does make a whole lot of sense, it still sounds horrendously inefficient to clear a minion wave as the Garden Terror. Because
I feel like I feel like all of these changes are basically meant to keep the terror attacking one place. Like, you throw down your pot, you start attacking a tower, and then minion waves come out, and while you're attacking the tower or the keep or whatever, the minions are also getting damage, and it's just all about keeping the Garden Terror in one spot.
Right, especially when we take a look at the change to Overgrowth, or as everyone on the Earth calls it, the potted plant. It no longer affects minions or mercenaries, so you're not going to clear a wave with the plant. It no longer deals damage to structures, so you will no longer be able to run in, drop a plant, and just run away to the next lane.
Thank goodness, man.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Garden Terror now deals 100% bonus damage to structures disabled by Overgrowth, so you are highly incentivized to be attacking structures that are affected by your plant. The maximum duration has been increased from 15 to 25 seconds, so it lasts a lot longer. Cooldown has been increased also from 15 to 25 seconds, and the health has been increased by 100%. It's twice as hard to kill now.
Because it has to just stand there and whack stuff. I think that makes sense.
Exactly.
My favorite thing is going to be watching all the people that don't pay attention to this change run and drop a pot and then just skedaddle, and you're like, where are you going? Don't leave.
It's that unintentional anger of a good change, right? Like we talked earlier about the draft. Like, we're so happy it's here, but there's one more thing for us to get mad about people AFKing for. Yeah. And it's the same thing with Overgrowth. And Kyle, I think I made this joke on Games Bond. It's like, man, I feel like I'm really happy about this change, but it's just going to be a month of me being really angry at people that didn't read the patch notes.
And we were already angry at them because they didn't know this in the first place. It was unintuitive. What a dumb play style, having to book it as a giant monster. I mean, what if Godzilla invades Tokyo and runs over, hits the Tokyo Tower once, and then runs to another building on the other side into another district? No, he stops around, he crushes all the little milk cart buildings.
If Godzilla, brought with him some plants that he could just throw into the middle of the city, and then he'll leave. I'll just leave that plant there. I'll be right back.
There we go.
He brings Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors with him and just places him down. And he says, "Feed me Seymour," and attacks buildings. Be wonderful.
Yep. Anything that prevents the stupid merry-go-round chase game of tag. I am so happy. The patch notes that we're reading from have so much cool stuff, but nothing for me was as big a deal as this. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I think we all are. Kyle, you remember my gut reaction. I was like, oh no, this is going to lead to longer games. And you're like, wait, no. Take a deep breath. Actually read it. And yeah, sure enough. Good changes.
The games are going to get longer, though. It's harder to end a game with a terror when, if the defense is good, your potted plant won't destroy the buildings. It'll just lock them down. You know, those Jainas, Kael'thas, Li Mings behind the enemy wall are going to be fantastic against the terror. So right now, it's looking like a 36-minute map.
In theory, it shouldn't be any worse than Dragon Shrine, though, because, I mean, it's not like the dragon has any way of disabling buildings. Even when it's completely uncontested, it has a pretty hard time because it's getting its health chipped away rather quickly by the structures. So at least the Garden Terror now has like an objective leg up on the Dragon Knight.
It does still have the dash, though, and does it need it? Probably, because Garden Terror's a massive map, and Dragonshire drops you right in the middle, and the Garden Terror has to walk from the back base.
Exactly. I think it does need the dash. Please do not take the dash away. Well, let's talk about some of the notable heroes changes on the PTR patch. We will, again, readdress this when it is live because there is a lot to cover, and we don't really feel like being here for 3 days. So, first up, Illidan, the Hunt. There is a talent for the Hunt now called Nowhere to Hide, and it now passively reveals all enemy heroes who are below 25% health.
Be very afraid, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you were like me, start trying to control your cussing.
That sounds like Ganktown, USA to me.
Yeah.
Maybe Gangtown for Illidan as well, though, because this reveals the hero and the feet around them, like a foot of light. So maybe if Stitches, there's a 25% health Vala hanging out, and Stitches walks through her, pushes her around a little bit, you might see Stitches. But for the most part, that 25% hero could be standing next to the whole team. And that Illidan is going to fly in by themselves.
Yeah. That is true. But, I mean, I don't know. Unless he gets another talent like Nova's triple tap reset, it will be dangerous. It will still be dangerous to do this. But
well, I would just say, if you see somebody that's below 25%, and you don't have viz on any of the rest of their team, maybe don't fly to them.
Yep. Do a quick head count on the death timers in the top of the screen. Just real quick. Oh, well, 3 are dead. I see a guy. It's fine. Fall 4 are up and you don't see anyone on the map. Maybe save your bloodlust for later.
Oh, that's odd. Taranda's soloing a boss in the bottom. Well, better get her.
Watch those bushes, boys. Jaina got some changes. Bolt of the Storm has been removed. It is gone. No! And this is actually a trend on a couple of heroes in this PTR balance change, which might as well be live because that's how things tend to go with the PTR. And we knew this was coming. Dustin Browder was talking about in his tweets the possibility of how Bolt of the Storm was being targeted as a possible removal from the game. Honestly, I feel like generic talents overall, like their days are kind of numbered. We're seeing more and more generic talents removed from heroes. And in most cases, similar talents added back to them, but customized for that hero.
I think that's a cool trend overall. I think that's awesome that each hero will really feel unique, even if it's only a name of the talent. But I think that's a good move overall.
I think it's fine too, as long as there's some type of difference between talent. If there's 2 talents that are 100% the same, I feel like it should have the same name to help with the learning curve of the game overall. But I don't know. Kyle, are you happy about this change?
The Bolt of the Storm going off of heroes? Sure.
Yep.
I don't really like what they gave in its place, though. Improved Ice Block. Moved from level 13 to level 20. Cooldown reduced to 20 seconds, so no longer a minute cooldown on your Ice Block. Duration decreased slightly by half a second, but waiting to 20 to get Ice Block on Jaina, that's a long time.
That is a really long time for a hero whose only escape mechanism is to make sure that no one is breathing anymore around her.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to wrap my head around living in a world where I'm watching Jaina surround themselves in ice every 20 seconds. So, Kael'thas is getting some changes. Living Bomb is having its explosion radius increased, and the explosions now spread Living Bomb to all nearby enemy heroes not already affected by it, and it can no longer be cast on targets already affected by Living Bomb.
Can I say something real quick? I really enjoyed watching Kyle's solo Q&A when he realized that this is basically free chain bomb all the time.
Yes.
He was like, wait, what? It was exactly the same reaction I had when I read the talent.
It's baked in.
It's
Yeah.
like, what?
This is
we get free chain bomb?
This is incredible. Like, I mean, Kael'thas needed something, right? And for the longest time, we were too, saying, all right, he needs to be taken down a peg. He's too strong. But then that change came, and he just plummeted off of the win rates. So, Kyle, again, you had your long solo Q&A. You played a ton on the PTR. How does this feel?
I think it's great. You can't get rid of Chain Bomb. It's an auto pick. It's too good. The chances of you taking a game because of that talent are amazing. So they baked it in. That's fantastic. What a great way. They could have just killed it. They could have, old Blizzard style, just right out of their World of Warcraft style. But they gave it to him passively. But big caveat here. Only spreads to heroes now. Explosion still hits lane minions, but you can't use Living Bomb to clear lanes.
Yeah.
And
Or
in the
mercs,
past,
I'm guessing.
Yeah, and in the past, level 16 Kael'thas, he could take a Merc camp. He could clear lanes like nobody's business. What an awesome way to take the lane clear power away from an assassin and empower all those other specialists who should be doing that.
Right.
I also think, do you guys think that since you can't cast Living Bomb twice on the same target, it sort of nerfs using Verdant Spheres on your W? Because usually everybody would just Verdant Sphere and then pop, on the same guy. Now you have to really target two different heroes with that if you're going to use Verdant Spheres on W anyway. So it seems like a bit of a nerf there.
Definitely, and ruins the whole combo that Kael'thas have had to teach themselves with the gravity laps into the double bombs.
Yep.
I found myself repeatedly just messing this up as I tried to double Living Bomb someone who was almost dead. So Verdant Spheres is falling more into the Flame Strike category for now, as Kael'thas still want to clear the lanes. But it also empowers gravity laps in some pretty cool ways. And that's going to see more use.
Right, I'm actually kind of excited about this. Having Chain Bomb baked in Living Bomb makes his early game so much better than it was before in terms of team fighting. Obviously, it's lane clear. Debatable. But I'm also really excited about not feeling like I have to use Verdant Spheres on Living Bomb, because I've landed some sick gravity lapses that have been empowered by Verdant Spheres in the past. But you always, in the back of your head, it's like, well, could I have gotten just another kill? Could I have gotten another kill if I'd used that on my Living Bomb? So I like that I will now be able to make a decision on which spell gets empowered. So there's also a new level 20 talent for him called Master of Flames, which allows Living Bomb to be spread indefinitely between enemy heroes.
That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to lead to some WTF HOTS moments. Just pinging it back and forth as people carry it all the way across the other side of a map.
Yeah.
You do, of course, have to stand next to each other and one, two, almost pass it off religiously. But now that there's no Chain Bomb talent, Backdraft, which slows targets, is going to be really powerful, and you can actually keep them together for a little bit while you get off this Master of Flames at level 20.
I also think that this change might actually help to educate people more about what to do when they have Living Bomb on them, because I think so many people could just ignore it for so long until that talent came up, and then they were sort of unaware that Chain Bomb had been picked, and or where we were in the match. And so I can just stand next to my the same way I have all the match so far. I can just stand next to people, and hopefully now that it's constant throughout the match, people will realize, oh hey, if I get Living Bomb on me, maybe I shouldn't stand next to my party.
It's going to be even more important than before.
Yeah.
If this level 20 talent becomes popular.
Well, and should be more noticeable through the game, as you said. I mean, we always play the early game. Some games end at 10 minutes. Some games go to 30. But the time you actually spend in the 20-minute to 30 range is going to be your least experience, where we've all had the early game. Kael'thas will be learned. People will figure out how to counter him at the lower leagues, and that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this new quest system that's coming out in talents? Like Kael'thas here
Really
has...
interesting.
Yeah, Mana Addict. His level 1 talent now, when he reaches 25 regeneration globes over the course of the map, he then unlocks Arcane Barrier.
Yeah, and then also like if you get to the maximum stack, you now can't lose it from dying because you had been able to lose it up to that point. But it's cool. So like literally, if you achieve the quest, you get a reward for it. It's kind of neat.
I like it too, especially from the thinking about the new player experience, because new players, they might just look up a build, they'll just take Mana Addict blindly, and you may not necessarily make it a point to run around and grab regeneration globes. But if there's this carrot at the end of the stick, you're going to be incentivized to go and do that.
And they're kind of hard to do, in all honesty.
Yeah, 25 regeneration globes. That's a lot. That's a lot of regeneration globes.
I mean, I like from a lore perspective and sort of a flavor perspective, the idea of quests. I think actually there's another level of that they could go with if they wanted to, that you could have sort of, team-wide quests where, if everybody cooperates, like if we as a team get a certain number of orbs or whatever, I think that could be an interesting thing to do too.
Yeah. And for chat room asking, yes, Kael'thas lost Bolt of the Storm. We're kind of cherry picking some of the more interesting changes and additions here, because there's just so much to talk about. But yeah, he did indeed lose Bolt of the Storm as well. So, any other thoughts on Kael'thas, guys?
He's my boy, man. He's my highest winning percentage character, and I'm so glad I get to actually play him again. I'm hoping this is. I'm glad he finally got some love because I missed him. He stands there in my team league screen, standing there with the highest win rate, just going, "Hey man, remember when we used to have a great relationship and you played me?" And so I'm hoping that this fixes that.
I'm right there with you. He's just sitting there with like, "Hey man, I've got a master skin. What's going on?"
Yeah,
He's going to be fantastic. I think we're absolutely going to see his return. And there is a Kael'thas auto attack build in there, which is a lot of fun to do.
But now this patch is not going to be live for Heroes of the Dorm, right? This is not going to be in competitive play at that point.
No, and that's the bizarre thing, is we are going to get this patch, according to everything I can find, and I had to dig a bit, Tuesday with Dehaka.
Wow.
So Heroes of the Dorm players will be playing on basically a private build of the game that is running the previous patch.
Exactly, and that means that the EU qualifiers had to happen this Friday, while these teams are practicing to be in a different finals in 2 weeks.
Crazy.
And the Korean final, or the regional finals in Korea, will be on an old version of the game. So they're setting up a server. They're gonna verify certain households so that these pro players can continue to practice. But how odd for us to go into 2 weeks of really good esports watching an old version of the game that we're not playing anymore.
That seems unfortunate to me. I'm a little bummed by that, to be honest with you.
It's sad because when I watch esports, I can hardly stop myself from playing. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
all right, okay, now let me log in and do that. What I just saw.
And especially since these changes are so big,
Yeah, you want to. That's the thing. All three of us as fans of esports, that's what you want to see when these changes come down. Not only are you excited about it for your own play, but you can't wait to see it in the hands of a professional.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I talked a little bit about it on the morning stream this afternoon, the PM edition, which sounds weird to say, but. It's weird, right? Like what is the happy medium? Where do you draw the line? Because these type of games, competitive games, by their nature, are iterated upon frequently. So at what point do you say no? This is too close to a big event, and then how do you handle that? Do you do what Team One is doing with Heroes of the Storm and give the professionals a private build of the game that is not going to change, and then push everything else live to the gamers? Because don't forget, they could have gone another route with this. They could have held it back, not given it to us at all, and just kept the live game the way it is.
But that's what's so amazing about Team One right now, is they're so responsive. Look at that tweet Dustin Browder did with the little video explaining this. He looks haggard. He looks real tired, man.
Don't say that about Dustin Browder. Oh, man, that's so rude. It's like someone saying, oh, man, you look tired. It's like, you just told me I look like shit.
No, I'm saying you look like you've been working hard, son. And
Okay, all right.
I am happy that you have. This game is fantastic because they have so much passion for it. And thinking about people, not a business, people would put this patch out right now because they are reading Reddit every day. They're seeing the responses, and they're just going, oh my God, be quiet, bans are coming. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Oh, you know what? Just let them have it. Everything's getting too dramatic. It's over. We're done with it anyway. Put it out. We'll fix it later.
That's kind of the mind I'm of. That if you feel your changes are too close to a competitive event, I'm not 100% against this decision, given what the other options could be. So, as someone who's not a pro player, I say screw it. Just deal with it. You, as a pro player, should just understand that this is something you're going to have to worry about, and it affects every single player equally. But
Yeah.
I'm clearly biased in that opinion.
Oh, I'm totally on that train too. Like, I would be all for just like throwing it into chaos, like all the things you guys have prepared for going up to this event. Now it's all different. But I understand that's not fair and would probably ruffle a lot of feathers. But as a viewer, I'm like, let the chaos begin.
Well, I mean, last year before BlizzCon, I mean, not for Heroes, but for Hearthstone, that the change to Patron Warrior, dear God, like the change that everyone had their torches and pitchforks out gets made, and they just keep their torches and pitchforks out. Like nothing changed. So
Well, and can you imagine for a second being one of those devs at Heroes of the Dorm or the Korean finals, and that interviewer comes up to you and says, so everyone's really excited about bans and this, when are bans coming to the game? And you know it's done, and you have to sit there for another 2 weeks smiling, sitting on your hands.
Very soon, sooner than you think.
Exactly.
yeah, and that's where Blizzard's reputation goes against them, because when I hear soon from Blizzard, I'm like, cool. I will be in a different decade of my life when I get to experience whatever it is you're talking about. But
And you only really get one, but the League of Explorers announcement was fantastic.
yes, it was.
Sooner than you think. Just kidding. What? No, next week.
Next week. And I went, damn it, I'm on my honeymoon. All right, let's talk about Tychus, because I'm sure, Kyle, you're quite excited about Tychus. Jeff, I don't know if you play Tychus or not.
I'm not a Tychus player, so yeah, you guys are gonna have to give me some context on this change because I don't know how much it affects him.
A lot, actually. So the main thing that Kyle, I have a feeling you had something to do with cherry picking this particular change out. Minigun has been redesigned. It no longer requires a wind up, and you activate it to cause basic attacks against heroes to deal bonus damage equal to 1.5% of the target's maximum health. It's a 3-second buff once you activate it, and it's only on a 12-second cooldown.
So the idea here is that you're turning your basic attack into a percentage attack.
You're buffing its effectiveness based on the health pool of your target.
So it works just like Giant Killer does. When you attack
Right.
someone with Giant Killer, you get the auto attack damage, and then a little spell damage flies off them too. You can see that in purple now in the game. So from level 1, Tychus has Giant Killer, and his attack speed is of course ridiculous, and you no longer have to wind up his gun, which means you can stutter step with Tychus now, which you couldn't previously do. And holy crap, if you can't burn through a tank for 3 seconds.
So counterpick to Cho'Gall is basically what we're talking.
Absolutely, right? I mean, your other characters have to wait till 13. Greymane has an awesome Giant Killer as well, but you gotta wait for it. Tychus is the level 1 Giant Destroyer now, and this goes across, I picked this particular talent or this trait for him now, because it kind of highlights what he's becoming. He's getting augmentations to this that can make him more powerful if the enemy is above a certain health amount. You get grenades that are 5% Giant Killers.
Wow.
I think we should start calling him Tank Buster.
That's a good idea, and it gives him a lot of personality now and a place to play.
Yeah. I'm excited about this change as well. The delay, the wind up on his minigun always used to drive me bananas, because no other hero in the game functions like that. So.
And that's all well and good when we have maybe Tassadar as the only hero that can really book it away from someone, and maybe a Vala, a Volt. But nowadays, things are getting pretty fancy, and Tychus chasing somebody is laughable.
Yeah. Kyle, do you want to talk to me about the one specific Gazlowe change that you wanted to highlight? Because he got a ton of changes, so why is this the one change you want to talk about?
This was tough for me to pick out, but I had to go with Robo-Goblin. Now adds a functionality to it where if you press R, your ultimate button, you can activate your turrets and target them, which gives Robo-Goblin a certain personality. And that's the main defining characteristic of Gazlowe right now. He's getting personalities. He gets 3 distinct specs, really. You have a crazy laser build, where at level 20, your turrets shoot out little mini lasers. You have a explodium charge build, where you can increase the size of it, increase the charges. When you land a stun, you get stacks of your turrets. And then you have your Scrappy McScrapperson build, where you're reducing the cooldown of your gravity bomb constantly and taking advantage of all your spells, but mostly the ones that are going to give you that scrap for your ultimate.
Yeah. So are you excited about this? Do you think Robo-Goblin build is going to become something for Gazlows that now all of a sudden want to be a single target damage Gazlowe?
The nice thing about the new Gazlowe is when I get into a quick match, I can decide, or if I'm first pick in Hero League, if I were to take Gazlowe into there and not get flamed and told to uninstall, and I listen to them for some reason, I can now make a build based on my team comp and the enemy team comp. Before, it was basically whatever you're best at and apply yourself in that direction. Gazlowe players are a little disappointed. This is a rework of talents, not so much a rework of any of his base kit. So if you don't have any abilities that make people stand in the explodium charges outside of a later level size increase, there's not much you can do to be better.
Gotcha.
Seems like Robo-Goblin would be useful for objective-based maps like Cursed Hollow and Infernal Shrines, where you can sort of set up camp, and then when people, you can just have all the turrets on one guy and defend that objective, maybe?
Exactly. And the problem with that playstyle is it's relying on enemy mistakes. You have to stand in my charge. You have to walk into my turret range. They're not going to chase you down. The turrets did get a passive increase to the range, which is very welcome. So there's a lot of really good tidbits in here. When we have characters on our team that work with the shapes, and I'm talking about mosh pits and Jaina blizzards and stuff like that, Gazlowe might be a good pick now. Maybe someday we'll have heroes that reduce movement speed or penalize heroes for moving. Like if you were to move, you take damage for every step you take. Those kind of guys would pair really well with Gazlowe. But right now, he just sort of relies on the enemy being in the wrong place, which isn't good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about probably one of the most discussed heroes this week in a lot of circles, Sylvanas, who got a pretty sizable rework as well as a new talent at level 7, Possession. This may remind you of her ultimate that no one ever took. So at level 7, if you take Possession, you can turn the allegiance of a non-catapult enemy minion, and you can store up to 3 charges. So that is what has happened to Possession, and you may be wondering what took the place of Possession on the heroic choices at level 10, and it's Mind Control. So if you take Mind Control, after channeling for 1 second, you gain control of an enemy hero's movement for 2.5 seconds.
Crazy.
And it plays a little bit of Lament of the Highborn, which is a nice touch.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, that is... Oh, dude, hit nerd chills. Total nerd chills.
So she is channeling during this time. She has to set up a little sort of ghostly purple laser connects with the hero, and then you have control of their movement. Not their abilities. You can't blow their cooldowns for them. That would be overpowered. But you have complete control, and they are stunned, locked down on their screen.
I was just about to ask, Can they still use their own abilities while you're mind controlling them?
But there is a counter to this.
Oh?
And it's /dance. Because when you're dancing, you cannot move. So if you see Sylvanas gearing up to connect a mind control on you, and you can type fast enough or have it pre-entered and just hit the button, a little copy-paste action, you'll dance for the duration of the ability.
Is that so?
That
is true.
Has to be a bug, right? They can't, or not, but not intentional.
No, but think about other abilities. Think about Mosh Pit. If, for some reason, I want to blow the most amazing ability in the game, I can do that. I'm locked down in my movement. If she's going to mind control Li Ming, I could set myself up to disintegrate. so my character can't move while that spell's casting.
That's fine, but those are abilities that are held back by cooldowns. You can slash dance as much as you damn well please.
The chat is informing me that they bug fixed it today
Oh,
on the PTR.
God bless you, Team One. Thank you.
I was going to say, because then you could... I feel like you would want to open that up to like, let me stun my teammates if I want, let me, if he can control their movement, let me just throw a stun on the old teammate.
It's like a raid in WoW when someone gets mind control. It's like, all right, hit them with the hunter trap until they fall out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow, I'm really glad to hear that because I was about to get kind of aggro, Kyle, and just be like, no, you're wrong. There's no reason that this should be a thing. And apparently Team One agrees with me, so I feel nice and validated.
Yeah, so you could still do a couple things to get yourself out of it, and you do not become an enemy player. It's not like World of Warcraft. You cannot send someone walking into a previously friendly effect.
Oh, that makes me sad. That would be kind of dope if you could do that.
Be a bit much. Check out that level 20 augmentation as well.
I know. At level 20, you can take Dark Lady's Call, and it changes the talent's functionality to affect mind control in that it now increases the target's movement speed by 100%. So you can take control of an enemy hero, and then you can make them book it to the worst place imaginable for them.
Well, can you walk them back into your base?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Unless there's a wall up and they can't pass through.
Oh, right, because they still can't. It's not like they're friendly, so they can't pass through the wall.
Yeah, okay. But this is a level 20 talent, right, Kyle?
Yes.
So you don't care about that. You're going to be just pulling them into your team.
Yeah, that's wild. That's a cool change.
Yeah, very cool ability. It's a single target too, which is a great give and take. Do we need the silence arrow for a group fight? Or am I going to isolate one person, which means I can contribute in a team fight and then go back to laning. So we have an assassin, Sylvanas, now with the arrow, the silence arrow, and now we have this sort of laning specialist, Sylvanas, that can participate for a couple seconds.
Cool. I'm so excited about these Sylvanas changes because honestly, guys, I can't remember the last time I even played her. She's not really been in the best of places. So, bring it on. Let's talk about Zagara. Yes. Nidus Worm, one of the most underpicked talents in the game, got some changes. While inside the Nidus Worm, Zagara's health and mana are restored at the rate equal to the Hall of Storms. Yes. Wonderful. Nidus Worm can also now be cast while inside another Nidus Worm. So you can pop one up, you can jump inside it, and then you can decide where you want to go.
And you can just stand there and heal up as long as you want?
Yep.
Wow.
Pretty much. And Zagara also now exits Nidus Worms instantly and can also exit by right-clicking the mini-map, which I love. There's also a fun little bug with this on the PTR. If Zagara was inside a Nidus Worm and the Nidus Worm was killed, she would pop back out of it with that Hall of Storm regen permanently.
Ooh.
Didn't go away.
Although if you just do /dance, it cancels that.
Right, yeah, exactly. Something like that. Something like that. / Dustin Browder destructible rocks or something of that nature.
They're really buffing /dance a lot in this patch. It's it's a design choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Mario Teaches Typing's getting too old. Mavis Beacon hasn't had a new edition for a while, so they're just helping kids out.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then finally, the final hero we want to talk about is Rehgar. Which is going to sound a little boring compared to some of the other changes we talked about, but it is actually pretty impactful. Earthbind Totem can now be hit by area of effect abilities. This is a change that came to Healing Totem a long time ago and pretty much ran that talent out of town. Now Earthbind Totem is not a talent. It is a baked-in ability to Rehgar. So even though it can now be burned down by blizzards and flame strikes and Bears Oh My, doesn't mean that you still won't be using it.
It also has more health than a Healing Totem, right? Am I wrong about that?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Me neither. I can't commit to that one.
I'm fairly certain it does because I feel like when I do, the few times I do see Healing Totems, that they go down way faster than the pesky Earthbind Totems. But
we're also dealing with splash damage going off and destroying those right now, too. Important to note, and why I definitely included this as it is one of sort of the lamer ones, Rehgar has only gone down 0.3%, which blows my mind. Everyone was losing their minds about not being able to cast Ancestral Healing on themselves, and it barely touched him.
I'm really happy that is the case.
I heard you guys talking about that last week, and I read that when I first read that in the patch notes. I was really happy. I thought that was a really cool way to kind of nerf him a little bit. It's such a sideways approach to it. I thought it was so clever and interesting, and I know you guys were a little more alarmist about it, and I was surprised when I heard you guys saying that because I just thought it was such a smart way to do it.
And I agree. I think it was the scary part about it is that huge change in play style that people had previously embraced given the new patch changes.
Yeah, I want to defend our stance just a hair because I feel like the internet as a whole, we're just like, he's dead. It's over. You'll never pick him again. This is stupid. They killed him. Whereas we were just like, he's really cool to play right now. He's an aggressive, brawling healer.
That's called OP. He's OP right now, is what you're saying. He's really fun to play right now because he's the best healer in the game.
It wasn't me. I didn't say he's really fun to play because I win every time. I said he's really fun to play because I like being a healer other than Karazim that is in the fight.
Sure, but you think I'd be taking Lost Vikings into Hero League if it didn't win me games? That's hard work, damn it.
But yeah. Nonetheless, I'm really, really glad that is the case, that it did work out. Because I'm certainly still picking Rehgar if I have to heal. So, or Brightwing, which everyone scratches their head, and then we rock it because I'm so good with that little chameleon dragon.
Man, Brightwing used to be my favorite character in the entire game until that big rework that was on her, and then I sort of got a little bit jaded. I got spurned by the game. I was like, well, everything that I loved about Brightwing is now not a part of that character, so I'm not going to play it anymore. I'm going to leave my level 12 Brightwing alone and up. But I got to come back to Brightwing. I really do.
Give her another shot. They've been slowly tweaking her here and there, and she's not good for every scenario. But I'm still a big believer in the Brightwing. So, and she even got a nice change. She got only one change in this patch, but it's a nice change. The damage reduction on Pixie Dust went up from 50% to 75%. That is a huge damage reduction.
I feel like there's no reason not to just spam Pixie Dust on your team at this point. You just there's no time when we should not have Pixie Dust up on somebody.
Unless nothing's happening to them and there's a Nova about to kill them, then you should save it. But yes, for the most part, it's wonderful, especially if you're speccing into it to increase Soothing Mist healing and stuff like that. But I love Brightwing. I loved her from day one. I still love her, even though I don't play her nearly as much. I'm with you, Jeff. The rework took some. Well,
I used to be Liquid Death with her. It was great. With my Envenom and my, I would have Emerald Dream as my. It was awesome, and it's like now you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to be healing.
Yeah, you do. Anyways, before we move off of this, Jeff, were there any changes in the PTR that we didn't mention that you're particularly excited about?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I think you guys hit some good stuff. I think it just scratches the surface with what's different about Kael'thas, which I think for me was the big surprise about how much attention he got. And as I said, I'm a big fan of KT. So, and the Garden Terror thing is great. I'll tell you what I'm really excited about, and this is just because I'm, whatever. I love that we're going to get a complete UI overhaul with everything. We're going to get animated characters in Hero League selection screen. I love all that stuff. I'm very excited to see how that all shakes out.
I like that as well. Kyle and I had a little talk about it, about the pros and cons, because we were like, oh, we like the illustrations.
They're beautiful. The illustrations are beautiful, and I'm a fan of those. But whenever I go back to Quick Match, I'm like, oh yeah, it's so cool to see your character big on the screen like that because there's so much detail there. It's really neat.
Right, and you see your skin and your tint,
exactly.
Which is also represented now in the draft screen. If you have a skin or a tint selected, that is also shown. And my response to Kyle when we both of us were kind of lamenting the loss of the illustrations, like, well, the illustrations are actually still right there when you're selecting your hero from the hexagonal UI system. And then when it's selected on the left side, it's a 3D. So it's actually kind of a nice change of application. So I dig it. I like it as well. It makes it just look that much more polished. Not to mention when people are like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that pick. You're like, Master Skin, suckers. Respect.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. That's cool. You
Yeah.
get to show a little, you get to show off a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I can dig it. Well, before we move on and take an email and wrap up the show, Jeff, you're our guest. So we have to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Next hero, who do you want it to be?
Well, I like that you phrased this as who do you want it to be, not who do you think it should be, because I'm
pretty sure it's Tracer, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I'm very excited to see how they handle Tracer. That sounds like bizarre with the ammo and all that stuff. Craziness.
Yeah.
Very excited about that. Oh, I have a question for you guys, but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So what I want, I think this is an obvious thing, and probably a lot of people would say this, but I want a dragon. I want a WoW dragon, Noxia or something. I want a dragon, and I want to see how they would do like a giant size character like that. I think that'd be super cool.
I am definitely mildly concerned. I think it would be kind of cool from a lore aspect, but I'm concerned that they would make the dragon be in their human form or their elf form.
Yeah.
Because all the female dragons pretty much show up either as night elves or blood elves. Deathwing.
And then their R would be like turn into a giant dragon.
Yeah, I feel like somehow they would work it into an ultimate where maybe you don't necessarily see the dragon, but it's like this big shadow in the sky and fire rains down.
Yeah, like
Well,
Arthas.
Let's do give the team a little bit of credit, though, because Greymane could be that boring.
Right.
But instead, he's very fluid. And your R is of interesting ability rather than just turn into a werewolf.
He is, but he also his what he transforms into is roughly the same size as what he was before.
Yeah.
Whereas a dragon is massive. I mean, that's something we talked about for a while. If they ever did Ragnaros, how would they do? Would he just be a small Ragnaros?
No.
Well, hey,
yeah.
how about Cho'Gall, twice as big as another hero? So a dragon with 5 players controlling it would be 5 times the same.
One hero. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Entire team control. Like, I'm the left front leg. I'm the right front leg. I'm the tail.
And I'll form the head.
I want to kill your idea with Dragon's Fire, Kyle.
The other character that I think would be really fun, I know other people have mentioned before too, is Deckard Cain.
Oh, yes.
I think like an absurdly slow Deckard Cain would be hilarious. Like figuring out a way to make that work, I think would be really fun.
I really want to see Deckard Cain. If for no other reason, just for the emotes. I just want to hear that voice yelling, "Go heroes, ham on the core!"
Yeah, exactly.
But
So I have a question for you guys. I'm a Heroes guy. I want to love Overwatch. I don't love Overwatch. I like Overwatch. I don't love Overwatch. I'm just not a FPS multiplayer guy. But the thing I'm most excited about with Overwatch is a huge new influx of potential heroes for Heroes of the Storm.
yeah,
However, I notice there's a lot of overlap. Like, isn't like Roadhog basically Stitches?
yeah.
And isn't like, how are they going to make those
More or
characters in Heroes unique and not, because they're just analogs to characters we already have in Heroes, basically.
Well, I think we've talked about it on the show before, and I'm of the mind that there's nothing saying they have to make every single hero in Heroes of the Storm. But I don't know, because really early on when the game first came out, Kyle, I mean, you and I, Stitches has been in the game since day one, and you're the biggest fan of horrible, disgusting monsters that of anyone I've ever met, and not like in a horror movie setting. Like, you just want to be a monster.
Yeah.
So we were always talking about the Butcher, and when is the Butcher coming? When is the Butcher coming? How are they going to do the Butcher? Because the Butcher in Diablo 3 throws a chain at you and pulls you in.
Right.
And we're like, well, is it just going to be a Stitch's skin? And then in came the Butcher, and they found a way to make him incredibly unique, very different from Stitches. The two, I wouldn't compare the two at all, other than the fact that they're both fat and ugly. That's a good point. That's a good point. They've proven me wrong before with my concerns about homogenization. So
I feel like there's like a Lieutenant Morales analog in Overwatch. There's a lot of that overlap,
Yeah.
and I worry about that. But
yeah, and in that case, I feel like I wish they weren't as averse to just making a skin, because I would go buy a Mercy skin for Morales right now.
Sure,
Yeah.
but you have to worry about silhouettes, right? And then you have a big old fat Mercy when she's clearly not.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. Come up with a clever name. It's like Gundam Mercy. So she has all this extra armor on her or something.
Okay.
I don't know. There's ways you can do it. I mean, we already have ways. Like the other day when we were in the game checking out skins and whatnot, the Lunar Festival Jaina skin, the final tint is a very obvious nod to Symmetra. Dresses the exact same color. Has the same skin tone, same hair color. So there's winks and nods already. So I personally don't see why they can't just add a skin, just as long as it's for a hero that they can't find a way to make work. If there's any chance that hero is going to be its own unique addition to the game, yes, absolutely add it. But I definitely don't see Team One adding a hero to the game that doesn't bring something new to the table.
Well, go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to take this in another direction, so go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, I had an opportunity to interview Dustin and K.A.O. Milker and some of those guys at a few events, and they really hit on this thing you talked about, Kyle, with the silhouettes, where they're very disciplined with the art team to be able to make sure that you can instantly recognize which character it is on the battlefield, regardless of what skin they have. So I think that would be a challenge if it's like, make this guy look like a completely different character from a completely different game. I think they probably are not going to go that direction. So,
and honestly, maybe the most confusing one we have right now is Suitless Rainer, and even then, he's got giant muscles and moves the exact same way.
Yeah,
they did a pretty good job with that, and that's something I would say I think Blizzard excels at across all of their titles. Overwatch is the same way. Those silhouettes are instantly recognizable. Even in World of Warcraft, where you have characters that can be customized to where God knows how many different armor models are in that game now, I can still, like, that's an undead, that's an orc, that's a gnome, at the blink of an eye, regardless of what they're wearing. So,
one of the cool things is that we can infer what an Overwatch hero might be like looking at some of these trends. Check out Diablo heroes. As the reworks have come in, it's changed a little bit, but Nazeebo, Butcher, Diablo all have some sort of gathering mechanic, whether it's the voodoo minion stuff, or you got your souls as Diablo or your blood as the Butcher. And now Tracer only has one ultimate. So maybe that's a taste of flavors to come.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the ammo thing will be a sort of carryover that'll work, in a game that you have to reload in.
Oh,
that'd be really cool.
That'd be interesting if all of the Overwatch heroes had some type of reload mechanic.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see it. Right now, I'm pulling for Winston. I want him throwing down big ass barriers and shocking everybody.
Totally. He would be awesome as a hero in Heroes of the Storm for sure.
That'd be good. Not to mention, hopefully he would have a boss ass movement ability like he does in the game itself. So that's all you need to give me to sell me on a hero is have fun movement abilities. So I'm easy to please.
But again, Winston, sort of Muradin, right? Bastion, sort of Sergeant Hammer. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of it.
Yeah.
No, I see it.
A little bit. I mean, I see a pretty big distinction between Winston and Muradin. But yeah, I could see just a Bastion skin for Sergeant Hammer. Although I guess when she's moving, that would be hard to make it look like Bastion.
Yeah.
Sieged up, yeah. Why not? Make it look like an Overwatch turret. But
well, and the obvious one is Vala.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you just Death Blossom.
Vala is Reaper. Yeah. That's just straight up a 1-to-1. So, which kind of makes me a little sad because I really like Reaper and I'd like to see him in Heroes, but that kind of proves Jeff's question. I don't know how you would do that hero and make him unique enough for the game. I guess
we shall see. I
guess we shall see. Well, let's thank our patrons for supporting the show. Patreon.com/ITN is the place to go if you're enjoying the show, if you like what we're doing, and you want to kick us $1 or $2, head on over there. We've got our call-in episode tomorrow, again, to remind you, so check it out for the information. This episode, let's thank Nathan Cooprider, 8-Bit Fungus. You win the name game this week. Congratulations. Chris Snow, Jeremy, and Michael Allman. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Now let's take an email and wrap this up.
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
You You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our email today comes to us from Humberto, who writes, in the past 2 weeks, I've been experiencing a crazy meta on these Hero League drafts where people constantly don't get a tank. Sounds like he might be in some of your games, Jeff.
Yeah, I think I played with Humberto. Sadly.
People say that on these ranks, you just need damage. So it's been more and more common to see teams with 4 assassins and 1 specialist, or 4 assassins and a support. Incredibly, these teams usually crush the enemy team with a tank, and I find that very disturbing, because I watch eSports, and I understand the ins and outs of drafting and team comps. I wanted to get your thoughts on that crazy meta-like situation I've been experiencing. Love the show. Keep up the great work.
That supports Kyle's advice to me, so I guess I got to change my... I guess I got to stop shouting at my team to just please draft a tank.
And a lot of that comes down to the skill of the tank at that level, because really most tanks are seduced by this idea of being a juggernaut, not a defender. This massive pile of meat that just slams through everybody, and they're being aggressive. Like, what hurts me the most, probably of any ability I see, is a out of range character and Jaina blinds them. And she's like, and be blind. Well, okay, I wasn't attacking anyway.
Yeah.
And then we need to wait for that cooldown, and there's no blind, there's no damage mitigation, and they're doing it wrong.
That's like watching an Uther run up to somebody, stun them, and run away.
Exactly.
Like, okay, pal, you stunned me.
Here's my
Thumbs up.
contribution. Everyone take care of it.
That confuses me too. Unless that Uther is interrupting an ult. I don't know. Like, okay, there it's all right. But it's like level 1 laning against minions. Yeah. It's like, I mean, yeah, for the light and all that junk. But what did you just accomplish there, Mr. Paladin buddy?
For the light and all that junk. I like that.
They should make a nice slacker Uther skin for that. He's just kind of into the light, whatevs.
Hipster Uther.
Yeah, hipster Uther. I mean, he's already got the beard and like the Metro Lumberjack vibe is really in right now. So you just give him like a beanie, but with the extra material in the back.
Well, we've already got Lumberjack Uther.
We do have Lumberjack Uther.
In fact, I think I would venture to say Uther has the best skins of any character. I think they gotta spread the love around to some other characters, because there's some characters that seriously aren't getting skin love. Like, there's a handful of characters that seem to get all the skins. Like, there's an absurd amount of Illidan skins.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, Kael'thas only's got one little skin that he launched with, and he's that's kind of sad.
Mine is Brightwing. I hate every skin they have put out for Brightwing.
Little monkey?
Come on. I hate monkeys. I hate them with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. I think they're creepy. And that one is especially creepy.
Like real life monkeys.
Real life monkeys. Can't stand them.
You have a cold, dark heart. Monkeys are adorable.
They're like more terrifying babies.
Wait. Okay. Well, how deep does this go? Are we talking lemurs? 'Cause lemurs are
no. Lemurs are cool. Yeah. The closer they get to looking like cats with thumbs, then I'm in. The closer they get to looking like a human being with way too much hair that loves playing with poo, I'm out.
Basically, is it still cute with a nighttime vision camera? Yes, it's okay.
That's where I draw the line on monkeys and apes.
I feel like you're just upset about the sort of uncanny valley aspect. They're just a little too close to humans, but not all the way there.
Well, I also think they're super gross. Like, just they gross me out.
They're adorable. They just want to hug you and eat bananas. Come on.
Yeah, and throw poo at you and try and hump your head.
Some.
I don't know. I've just never been a monkey guy. All right, I'm sorry.
What's your favorite skin in the... I'm totally doing this because I'm geeking out because I'm on the show that I love. So I get to ask you guys questions. What's your favorite skin in the game, guys?
Ooh.
Go for it, Garrett, because I'm lame. You know mine already.
Yeah, I do know yours.
Yes.
Mine might be a tie between Marine Murky and Angelic Vala. Marine Murky just scratches my love of Blizzard's sense of humor, like, to a T. Like, I just love it, and I love the cross section of 2 of my favorite games ever. And then Vala just scratches that badass side of Blizzard. Like, that is just such a sick looking skin.
Yeah.
So, those are probably my 2.
Kyle, what's yours?
Infested Tychus.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
I
That's a
love
great one.
the lore that can come out of alternative history kind of skins. I'd love to see more of those. What if, if Kael'thas didn't join Illidan? Like, what would he look like today?
Yeah. What's funny, at BlizzCon they said that's the only skins they were going to do for Overwatch, right? Where like the sort of back history, and then all of a sudden we get the first thing. It's like, nope, crazy, wacky, weird skins. Let's do it. Let's put him in a explorer outfit or whatever.
Yeah, let's get
Very goth oriented recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Jester Junkrat. And there aren't skin tints in that game, so I hate the Jester Junkrat because I can't give him green hair and make him the Joker that he clearly is. He is clearly the Joker with an amputated leg. And a love of Mad Max type tinkering. But yeah. What's your favorite skin in the game, Jeff?
Well, see, I asked the question. Now I don't have a great answer for it. There's a lot of really good ones, I think. I mean, there's a soft spot in my heart for Bikini Stitches. I don't even play Stitches, but I just love when that shows up.
I like that one a lot just because it covers up his disgusting pepperoni nipples.
Right, yeah. And it's just like the creativity they used with that is really great. I really like the most recent Lunar Festival Illidan, but because it looks like a Lucha Libre wrestler, I think that's pretty cool.
I think it looked a bit like pajamas.
Well, I mean, same as what I said, basically.
I get that vibe too. Well, what about the Shadow Paw? Is it Lily that's coming out?
Dude,
Oh yeah,
looks amazing.
that's cool.
I really like it.
Turns the auto attacks into shurikens,
Yeah, that's cool.
or
That's cool.
little those throwing dagger things.
Yeah, yeah.
I
stars.
really dig it. I'm also I'm a big WoW fan. So the skins that are just 1-to-1 armor sets that existed in WoW, I'm all about it. So like Jaina has, I don't know what the set was called, but she has the set with the prong that the lightning goes in between. It was a mage set from Wrath of the Lich King. I love that set because
Isn't Uther's most recent one? Isn't his like a
Judgment.
Like a full? Yeah.
That was
It's a
one I was
full-on
waiting
paladin
for.
set.
Yeah, that was one I was waiting for forever, and it finally came out. And I spent my money, and all of a sudden, Uther's one of the worst supports in the game. But yeah, I really like those, but I'm not going to give that as my answer because it's like it already existed somewhere else. But yeah,
I like
Oh, yeah.
the ones that like Lumberjack Uther. I like the ones that have a complete theme that really is perfectly suited to that character model already. Like every little bit just works. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, when we were at BlizzCon, how many years ago, when we tried out Heroes for the first time, we got in, we're like, oh my God, Roller Derby Nova, this is ridiculous. And then they've carried that forward, and yeah, there are some really great skins. But I want a cool skin for Brightwing. Brightwing needs a badass skin. Her master skin just makes her even more ridiculous with the scepter and the butterfly wings. I want the skin that makes her just look like a carnivorous, terrifying dragon.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or like a bat would be cool.
Bat would be very cool. Oh man, one of the bat mounts from WoW.
Infested Brightwing. That's what I'm calling for.
Oh yeah, no, you could totally make Brightwing look Mutalisk-esque from like StarCraft. You could.
But let's get real. Like Infested Lily would be horrifying with like one eye sticking out, and one's a tentacle, and
I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Lily, as she currently stands in the game, is already pretty horrifying because it looks like a hairy ET.
Her cups are just like goo, like disgusting ooze that she's throwing at you to heal you.
Yeah. Oh my God, Deathwing Brightwing in the chat room.
There you go.
That's amazing. Give her the big metal jaw.
yeah.
And like little but red and black wings with metal bolted on. I'd buy that in a second. My money that is $10 to $15 I would just no longer have. But sadly, you keep giving me monkeys and butterfly wings. So I want a Brightwing skin that reflects her inner personality of being a carnivorous psychopath. So, or just I don't know, dinosaur, make it look like something out of Jurassic Park. There's all kinds of ways you could go with it, but I think that's where we'll leave it. Unless there's any other burning questions you have, Jeff. These have been
Sorry,
really
I didn't
fun,
mean to derail the show there.
No, it's been super fun actually.
Oh, good. No, like I said, I'm just like having a good time talking to you guys about the game that I love. So I could do this all night.
Bring me on /filmcast where I will just sit and ask David Chen, why do you hate everything?
That sounds like a deal.
I'm actually, I think I like that show so much because the way David Chen's brain works is so different from mine that I
So
really
different from
enjoy
most
it.
people's, let's be honest.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks again to our patrons. Check out patreon.com/ITN. Keep those iTunes reviews coming. We've actually thanked every single one of you. We've caught up. So if you listen on iTunes, drop a few more reviews. They help us out quite a bit. Jeff, you're our guest. We'll let you promote yourself first. Where can folks find you if they're not familiar with your work?
I'll be honest, there's a lot of shows that you can watch if you're interested. First of all, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jeff Cannata, which is spelled with 2 N's and 1 T. As you said, I talk about movies and TV shows on a show called the /Filmcast, which you can find at /filmcast.com. I do a video game show called DLC, which you can find at 5by5.tv/DLC. I talk about tech on CNET on a show called Tomorrow Daily, which you can find at tomorrowdaily.com. And I have a comedy science show called We Have Concerns at wehaveconcerns.com.
With your friend Anthony, correct?
Anthony Carboni and I do it 3 times a week, 20-minute episodes. They're really short, but I guarantee you'll laugh at least once, and you'll have something interesting to think about.
I will always remember Anthony Carboni as the guy that when we were hanging out, enjoying a beverage at Nerdtacular, said, "Why do you still live in Florida? You don't have to."
Yeah, he moved away from there.
Yeah. You know you have a choice, right? That was
That's true.
his reaction to me
I think
saying.
isn't that the state motto? Florida, you don't have to live here.
That was his reaction to me explaining that I at one point lived in Los Angeles and moved back to Florida. So yeah, that is my association with We Have Concerns. Well, folks, if you want more Into the Nexus or more shows like this, head on over to amove.tv. Big fat thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H. and Cheesy Bob. You can get our coffee mugs, pint glasses, and other swag over at bit.ly/amovestore. And catch us live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/amovetv or over at alphageekmedia.com where you can get in on basically any device live. If you want to check in live, you can't get the darn Twitch app to work right, go to alphageekmedia.com, check it out. Follow us on Twitter at ITNcast and check out BrianGriffithMusic.com because he's responsible for our dope-ass intro music. Kyle, where can folks find you?
You can find me at Kyle Ferguson. I am a Heroes of the Storm coach, so sign up for lessons at kyleferguson.com. Check out my stream Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific over at twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson. Thank you so much, everyone who joined me. You made those episodes so awesome. The PTR has no MMR. It can be an extremely toxic and confusing place. And I really appreciate everyone who came out for the live show and joined me for those games to make those episodes even better. And follow me on Twitter, at Kyle Ferguson.
2 S's in Ferguson. I feel the need to remind people because I used to work with a 1S Ferguson and it drove me up a wall. Because I knew you longer. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art, 2 R's and 2 T's, and Garrett 1 R and 1 T in art, unless you weren't aware. You can check out my graphic design work at nomoonart.com. You can also shoot me a message there if you need a graphic designer. You can hear me talking about Hearthstone on The Angry Chicken, and you can hear me talking to myself lately about The Division on The Angry Nerd. So check that out. And just because we aren't running ads at the top of the show anymore does not mean that these codes are any less awesome. Check out doghousesystems.com where the code ITM will get you a free 120 gigabyte solid state drive added on to your amazing gaming system. I've got mine sitting right here. Love it. Go check them out. And also check out tweakedaudio.com where you can get earbuds to listen to podcasts with, where that same code ITN will get you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds. We thank them for their support. We thank you for listening. Jeff, we thank you for joining us. This was a blast.
Yeah.
My pleasure, man. You guys do a great show. I'm just glad that I got to be a part of it.
Oh, well, great. Again, everyone, check out Jeff Cannata at Jeff Cannata on Twitter. Check out all of his many, many fine podcasts. And until the next time we talk to you all, which actually will be tomorrow on the call-in episode, patrons, we'll see you soon. Good luck and have fun.